Just days ago, the golf world was watching closely. Cameras followed every swing, every step, every quiet moment between shots. Because whenever Charlie Woods steps onto a course, it's never just another round of golf, it's an event. The galleries grow larger, the expectations grow louder, and the spotlight burns just a little bit brighter. This wasn't just another junior tournament, it was supposed to be another step forward in a story that many believed was already written. But what happened next didn't follow the script anyone expected, because by the time the final scores were posted, something felt off. Not slightly off, not even surprisingly off, completely off. Charlie Woods, one of the most talked about young players in the game, had finished at the very bottom of the leaderboard. Last place, at one of the most prestigious junior events in the world. And just like that, the entire narrative surrounding him shifted in a matter of hours. The same name that once symbolized promise suddenly became the center of confusion. How does a player with that much attention fall that far, that fast? This wasn't just a tough day on the course. Golf is a game of bad rounds, missed putts, and unlucky breaks, but this felt different. The numbers told a story that was impossible to ignore. Round after round, the gap between Charlie and the rest of the field didn't shrink. It grew. Each scorecard painted a clearer picture, and it wasn't one anyone was prepared to see. For a player surrounded by so much belief, this wasn't just a stumble. It looked like a collapse. And the deeper you looked, the harder it became to explain. Because this wasn't just about where he finished, it was about what it meant. About expectations, pressure, and a name that carries more. To understand what just happened to Charlie Woods, you have to start long before that final scorecard was posted. Because in golf, some players carry a bag and others carry a legacy. And Charlie, he's been carrying one of the heaviest names in sports since the day he was born. The name Woods doesn't just echo through clubhouses, it defines them, and that changes everything. His father, Tiger Woods, didn't just dominate golf, he transformed it. 15 major championships, iconic comebacks, and a level of global fame that turned quiet fairways into stadiums. Tiger didn't just win tournaments, he rewrote what greatness looked like. And from the moment Charlie first picked up a club, the question was never if he would play golf, but whether he could ever live up to that shadow. But here's the reality most people don't see. Charlie Woods has never had the luxury of being just a kid learning the game. Every swing, every round, every appearance has been watched, recorded, analyzed. Cameras follow him, crowds whisper, headlines form before he even tees off. Because when your last name is Woods, every shot feels like it matters more than it should. And with that comes expectation. Not quiet hope, but loud, constant pressure. The belief that he might be the next Tiger. The assumption that greatness is inevitable. But golf doesn't work that way. It never has. Even legends struggled before they conquered, and even prodigies fall before they rise. The difference is, most players get to fail in silence. Charlie never has that option. So, when he steps onto a course, he isn't just competing against the field, he's competing against history, against comparisons, against a version of greatness that may never be matched. He's not just trying to win, he's trying to prove something to the world watching him, and that's where everything starts to shift. Because pressure like that doesn't just follow you, it eventually catches up to you. So, the question now becomes impossible to ignore. What actually went wrong? Because performances like this don't just happen without a reason. Not at this level, not in a tournament like Sage Valley, and definitely not to a player like Charlie Woods. This wasn't just a cold streak or a couple of unlucky breaks. This felt deeper, more complex, and far more revealing than a simple bad week. The first place many people look is pressure. And not just normal competitive pressure, the kind that builds quietly and sharpens your focus. This is something else entirely. This is the pressure of expectation, of legacy, of knowing that every swing is being measured against a name that changed the sport forever. For Charlie, every shot isn't just about execution, it's about comparison. And when that weight starts to build, even the smallest mistake can feel 10 times heavier than it should. But pressure alone doesn't tell the whole story. There's also experience, or rather, the lack of it. Sage Valley isn't just any event, it's a battlefield filled with the best junior players in the world, many of whom have been preparing for moments like this for years. The margins are razor thin, the conditions are demanding, and the mental side of the game becomes just as important as the physical. For a young player still developing, that environment can expose weaknesses quickly. Then there's the level of competition itself. This wasn't a local tournament or a casual round. It was elite, unforgiving, and relentless. Every player in that field earned their spot. Every round required precision, and when you're even slightly off, the leaderboard doesn't just reflect it, it amplifies it. And yet, here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Because just weeks before this performance, Charlie made a major decision about his future. Committing to college golf, a clear sign that his journey is only beginning, so which raises an even bigger question. Was this collapse a warning sign or just a necessary step in what comes next? In the end, what happened at Sage Valley may feel like the headline, but it's not the full story. Because careers, especially in golf, are not defined by a single tournament. They're built over time, shaped by setbacks, refined through struggle, and ultimately revealed in how a player responds when things don't go according to plan. And for Charlie Woods, this moment isn't an ending. It's a beginning in disguise. It's easy to look at a leaderboard and draw conclusions, to see a last place finish and assume something is wrong. But the reality is far more complicated and far more human. Every great golfer, including Tiger Woods himself, has faced moments where the game simply didn't cooperate, rounds where nothing clicked, weeks where confidence slipped just enough to change everything. The difference is, those moments didn't define them. They shaped them. And that's where growth begins. Not in victory, but in adversity. In the uncomfortable realization that talent alone isn't enough, that the mental side of the game matters just as much as the physical, that learning how to lose is often the first step toward learning how to win. For a young player like Charlie, this experience, however difficult, may end up being one of the most important chapters in his entire journey, because the path forward is still wide open. With a college golf commitment already secured, new opportunities are waiting, new environments, new challenges, a chance to develop away from the constant spotlight, to refine his game and to build confidence on his own terms. And sometimes stepping back from the noise is exactly what a player needs to move forward. So maybe the real story isn't about what just happened, but about what happens next. Because greatness has never been about avoiding failure, it's about rising after it. And for Charlie Woods, the next chapter hasn't been written yet, which might be the most important part of all. The stage for what happened next could not have been bigger. The Junior Invitational at Sage Valley isn't just another tournament, it's one of the most prestigious proving grounds in all of junior golf. This is where future stars introduce themselves to the world, where elite young players separate themselves from the rest, and where expectations meet reality in the harshest possible way. And this time, all eyes were locked on Charlie Woods, but not for the reasons anyone expected. From the very first round, something felt off. Not dramatically at first, just subtle mistakes, missed opportunities, shots that didn't quite land the way they should. But in a field this competitive, small errors don't stay small for long. One bad hole turns into two. One missed putt turns into a pattern. And before anyone could fully process it, the leaderboard began to tell a completely different story than the one people came to see. Round after round, things kept going wrong. Drives drifted, putts refused to drop, momentum never came. Instead of climbing the leaderboard, Charlie kept slipping further down it, until the numbers became impossible to ignore. By the end of the tournament, he had finished in last place, posting a total score of around plus 26. Not just behind the leaders, but significantly behind nearly every player in the field. And it wasn't just the position, it was the gap. He wasn't barely last. He was far removed from the rest in a way that made the result feel even more shocking. In a tournament built to showcase the next generation of greatness, one of the most talked about names in golf had experienced a complete unraveling in real time. This wasn't just a tough week, it was something else entirely, and the golf world could feel it.